today we're doing a flatbed lane analysis. This is 100% in my wheelhouse. And my friends over at DAT are the official data partner here on the Freight Coach podcast. So we're going to jump into This Week in Freight, powered by DAT. We are breaking down flatbeds today, you guys. And as always, this is 100% viewer submitted, okay? So if you want your lane broken down on the show, I just need you guys to email podcast@thefreightcoach.com and we'll feature it live on the show. Again, I don't need anything but the shipping city, delivery city, and the trailer type. I am just here to help you guys actually understand how I assess lanes and what goes on in the market. And this one, again, being in my wheelhouse, and the fact that, I don't know, it seems like tender rejections are at like 187,000% for flatbeds right now. It seems like it's the hottest stuff out there. But, you know, as somebody who cold calls flatbed shippers all day, they're not happy for your call right now. Just a heads up. At least they just hate the sound of my voice anyways. But this lane in particular, you guys, we got Little Rock, Arkansas to Des Moines, Iowa. And you guys can see some very well publicized spikes here, okay? So again, first thing I always look at, no matter what, miles, right? Why is that? Because again, days of the week depend on, you know, like what you're going to go out there and quote. And if there is shorter miles out there, you guys, for weekend runs, it's exponentially more expensive to ship that than, say, Monday through Thursday. So that's the first thing I take into consideration as I'm going out there and bidding on freight. This one's 600 miles. So again, if it's got to do Thursday to Monday, Friday to Monday, your rate's going to be exponentially more expensive than a Monday through Thursday with next day delivery opportunities that come along with this. And now again, we're coming up into flatbed season. So if you go and pay attention to this graph, what happens here, all right? Rates start to spike over the summer. Why is that? Tons of flatbed freight is moving out there, less capacity. It has pretty much performed this way since I've been in the industry, you guys. So the pattern of this, big deal. Here was one point of emphasis I noticed back in December, again, when it's obviously holiday weather, stuff like that. It spiked a little bit higher than it probably normally should. And again, Arkansas is one of those states that is heavily enforcing ELP. Okay. So again, if you're paying attention to other headline data that is going on out there, those are also factors you're going to need to take into consideration throughout this year. But it did drop back down exponentially in January and February, and it has stayed essentially at that almost, I went to public school, so between $2.50 and $3 a mile paid to the driver. I would probably say the ones that are erring on the higher side of things, you guys, has everything to do with the fact that it's a weekend run, or they're having to hold this product that's out there. But it's trudging along here at that 1,500 mark. I would expect it, again, I could be wrong, I would expect it to stay here, you guys, until late April, early May, and then into the full swing of building season out there. It's a great lane. It's a heavy lane that's out there. A lot of the carriers that we work with, because we move freight within the Midwest, a lot of our carriers out there are pretty dialed into what they want on their pricing on this, you guys. And they're at that, essentially that $3 a mile mark is what they're always asking us for out there. Again, I'm never going to tell you guys what to quote because I don't want to cost you guys any money. But again, I look for the consistency factor. There are a couple of rapid swings that happen out here. But again, if you're going to play in the contracted freight world, you guys, which a lot of people out there on social media want consistent rates. They want that RFP freight and everything else. You got to wear it during the high times, all right? Hate to break it to you. You can't just reject freight and expect to stay in a customer's network. So if you're finding yourself in that situation, service over everything, all right? Take care of your customer. If you're failing on a load, let them know early, all right? Like, I would rather lose business by telling the truth than keep anything on a lie. It's just a personal thing of mine. But again, this lane is going to probably perform this exact same way this year as we're going into flatbed season, which is coming up. It's already starting in some key markets, and especially if there's any data centers, you guys, being built in any of the markets you're moving freight in, pay attention to that, all right? Because that could be a pretty big deal, because I hear those are paying awfully well out there in the market. But this one, I think it's going to perform the exact same out here. I do not see any unseasonable spikes on this lane coming up. But again, you guys pay attention to what is going on Capitol Hill and what the DOT is doing. because later on this year, that could be a thing. But that lane, you guys, Little Rock, Arkansas, Des Moines, Iowa, this is for the flatbed, This Week in Freight, powered by my friends over at DAT. And if you want your lane broken down, email my team, podcast@thefreightcoach.com.